You are now entering the Mysterious Historians podcast. Plastic surgery, an ill of modern times, or a phenomenon that has been around as long as man has had an awareness of youth, beauty, and death. Today I sit down with Professor Loretta Bones-Cornbush to discuss our obsession with ourselves. But first, are your outlets loose? Do plugs slip out of them like a call girl from her negligee? Ort's Outlets has the tightest slots in the business. Use code Plastic Surgery Episode, all caps, for a 3% discount. And now, on to the show. Professor Cornbush, welcome.
It's actually Professor Bones, recently divorced, so I've removed Cornbush, no longer hyphenated, just Loretta Bones, Professor Loretta Bones. It wasn't my choice for the marriage to end, so we just, you roll with what you get. I got Bones, and so now I'm back to Loretta Bones. It's a maiden name. None of us choose our names now, do we?
No, none of us do. But we can choose our faces. Tell me, why specialize in plastic surgery?
I'm a woman in the world. You know, honestly, it's an art. Let's be real. And sculptors were the original plastic surgeons, but they did it with marble. Does that make sense?
It does.
I'm an art lover and a body hater. And the combination makes plastic surgery a perfect field of study for myself.
Let's begin at the beginning. How far back does plastic surgery go?
Well, even prior to surgery, much like modern day, there were fillers. So they used to melt. If you had, say you had a candelabra in your living room and you noticed that you had crow's feet, you can melt your candelabra, put the paraffin wax into your face, mold it until it forms a solid again, and then there you go. Those were the original fillers for your face. Isn't that amazing?
It's incredible. I saw ads for Juvederm and I thought, what will we think of next? Turns out we'd already thought of it.
This is a BC practice. This is in a world where I think humans, we've hated how we've looked from jump.
It's interesting to think of the transition from caveman just trying to stay alive to having enough time to start looking at yourself, decide that you didn't like things about yourself enough to change.
Well, now, sure, you're trying to stay alive, but while you're trying to stay alive, your friends are drawing pictures of you, cave art, if you will. You come home from hunting and gathering or having a baby or whatever you did, and you look at the cave art and you go, that's how you see me? Oh, no. And then while you're out next time hunting and gathering, you wonder, can this berry juice be lipstick? It's a normal human thing to think about while you're thinking about survival. They go hand in hand. Everybody thinks it's a frivolous luxury. It's not. It's part of survival.
To be able to carry your DNA on, you need to be the most attractive.
That is the truth. That has always been the truth.
Would you say Robin who feathers his nest with a bright bauble it finds is almost like a bird's version of plastic surgery?
It's a BBL for your bird's nest. That's what that is. Absolutely. Everything is an advertisement for sex. Always has been, always will be, in every area of the animal kingdom. And primarily, as humans, we have more of a tendency to develop our own aesthetic. And we have this luxury of injectables and scissors and knives and things that we can take to our bodies to really make ourselves a work of art.
I assumed that narcissism came from the invention of the mirror, the discovery of our reflection, even sculptures. But you're saying it's existed since caveman times.
Listen, you look down in the shower and you see what you see. But I will say there was a time, if you look down in the shower as a lady and you see your breasts moving in directions that you're not comfortable with, these days you would say, give me a lift, give me an augmentation, pump some Vaseline inside there. But back in the old days, they used to just build clothing so that it looked like your body looked how you want it to look when you look down at your body in the shower. Does that make sense?
I read that they have documentation on papyrus in your BC, as you call it, of plastic surgery in Egyptian days, but mostly for people suffering from diseases or ailments, people who lost parts of their faces or bodies, who needed medical attention.
Sure, reconstructive plastic surgery was the launch of the trend, but then they looked so much better post-surgery that once again people saw these tragic cases emerge from their surgeries looking like supermodels. And they were like, what, do I have to get in an accident to get a nose job? No, I can talk to this doctor, quietly get one behind the scenes, and show up at my next luncheon and be the talk of the town.
Yeah, you get your part of your face ripped off by your run-of-the-mill hippo attack, and you could be Cleopatra the next day.
Absolutely, but you don't have to get your face chomped by a wild beast anymore. Now, and you know, in olden times, the origin of the nose job was when gentlemen would cheat on their wives, they would get their noses cut off. And there was a male doctor somewhere who said, like, well, that's not
India,
fair.
I'm pretty
That's
sure.
correct. That's correct. A doctor in India said, well, that's not very fair. Now, is it? These men just made a mistake. Let me heal their nose. And when he healed their noses, he made little works of art in the middle of their faces, and everybody wanted one of those. And now not everybody has to cheat to get one. Like, look how we've evolved as a species.
What a thrilling bit of trivia for our listeners, that in ancient India, they used to cut people's noses off for various crimes, and a doctor came up with a way to reconstruct noses.
And off this doctor goes, cutting off a piece of the face, different piece of the face, to stretching it over the nose bone that remained, and just made a new nose. And what do you know? Your skin grows back. Like, the human body is just meant to be plastic surgerized, as best as I can tell.
I'm surprised there wasn't a trend of, the nose-shaped scar of flesh missing from your cheek or forehead.
That's a bad boy. That's how you identified a bad boy. Is, oh, that guy has a scar on his cheek and a really nice nose. He must cheat.
That guy's forehead is his nose.
That's right.
That
That's
guy
exactly
knows how to
right.
make love.
That's the truth.
So we fast forward to World War I and advancements there because of a particularly brutal war. Do you think without war we would not have plastic surgery as we know it today?
That's a wonderful question, and I hear you advocating for war, but
Okay.
did I misread that statement?
I'm wondering, necessity is the mother of invention. So one wonders, if nothing bad happened, would we have no inventions? If there was no World War I, would we have no cosmetics, no facelifts, no skin grafts?
The truth is, I don't want to think of a world where we don't have these options available. So perhaps this is a way for me to reframe World War I as a good thing. This is a place where there was innovation, the birth of art and creativity on the human body. It's hard to say, because I don't know if anyone would sign up necessarily to be the first person to say, like, hey, go ahead and slice the top of my tits and pull them up to meet my shoulders, and let's just see how that goes. If there hadn't been someone in a position where they needed a surgery where chest parts were sliced and reconnected, and what do you know, their tits looked great on the other side of it.
What do you imagine happened to that woman that she accidentally got a breast lift?
I think she wore tank tops with no bra for the rest of her days.
Yes. Many people dying of poisoning from food led to the discovery of botulism, and what arguably is one of the most popular procedures today, Botox. Thoughts?
I think Botox is heroic. This is what I mean by artists and creativity. Like, if you said to me, here's some poison, try injecting it somewhere and see if you're more beautiful, I would say absolutely not. And this is why I'm a professor and not a doctor, because a doctor goes, okay, I see a place on a face that could be dead and look younger. Let me try injecting it there, and here we all are, blessed, unmoving beings.
What the effect it's having on children whose mothers can't make facial expressions, and therefore the children don't learn facial expressions, and therefore they go into the world and become serial killers. Talk to me about that. Or is Botox damaging the human face, the human relationship to facial expressions?
I say watch cartoons if you want to see expression. You don't need to see it on your mother's face. You hear it in her tone of voice. The eyes are the window to the soul. You can see it in her eyes. She loves you or she hates you. You'll be clear on that. And if you want to see how to move your own face, watch TV. Watch your brothers and sisters. When you hit one, you'll see what happens.
Now, in your TED Talk, you mentioned that you had a very distant relationship from your mother, and you actually never saw her face. Is this why you feel so strongly?
Well, she had a condition where her face was very small, and so she wore a veil all the time. So I couldn't see a thing behind that. The only time I saw it was one time she sneezed, and it flew up for a brief moment, and I was like, Mother. And then she taped it down from then on out. So, it didn't affect me. I think I'm just fine. Like I said, I watched cartoons. I saw a lot of Scooby-Doo. I know what to look for. I know what to do with my face when I want a snack. I know what to do with my face when the kids didn't let the guy get away with it.
Mm-hmm. I feel like that explains a lot of your facial expressions.
They are big. They are big.
And suspicious. What do you think is too far in plastic surgery?
Oh, that's such a personal question. I worry about the too tiny waist. I don't know if people are getting ribs removed for real, but did you see that Kim Kardashian look at the Met Ball this year?
I try to not absorb anything Kim Kardashian does.
My point is, her waist was so tiny. It was like a pencil waist, and a regular human being on either side of it. She looked like she couldn't breathe. It was distressing, and I don't think a cosmetic surgery look. I don't think the outcome should be distressing or depressing for that matter. What bothers me more are fillers. These puffy faces, these fat heads. Sure, you have interesting angles now, but what are they?
So in your mind, what is the purpose of plastic surgery? Is it just artistic expression, and therefore it can be anything? A waist that's too small and disturbing, a face that's larger than your hips? Or is it meant to be humans but elevated?
I like everybody to look about 15 years younger than they actually are. I think the purpose of plastic surgery is self-esteem. There, I said it. Not popular, but I said it.
No, not a popular.
The cosmetic plastic surgery, reconstructive surgery, like the World War I cases and such that you spoke of, has a different purpose. But elective plastic surgery really feels like an esteem boost.
There's two things I want to discuss. The first is the superficial damage of age, the sun damage, the wrinkles, the stretch marks. Many people argue that these are badges of honor, that this is our life. It's the writing on us and the pages, and we are the book. And plastic surgery erases that writing. It erases our life experience. Would you agree?
I understand the sentiment, and I don't subscribe to it, but there's room for all of it. If you like your body being written on by your life, if you love your battle scars, wear them. I want to look so snatched in a bikini that I almost take the air out of the room when I emerge, when I take my cover up off. That's how snatched I want to be. I want to have my belly button reconstructed every 6 to 10 years with a tummy tuck. I want my skin so tight you can see my heart beating underneath my rib cage. That's my aesthetic. That's me. You can see,
I can see your heart right now.
Yes.
Through a sweater.
Yes. It's snatched.
The other question, and I think I know what your opinion of this will be, but plastic surgery erases the various nose shapes, lip shapes, eye shapes. It's a homogenization of the human race. Things we evolved to have over time. You are, as historians, plastic surgery erases human history.
Does it? Or is it indicative of the area where each group lives? There's a different look to the plastic surgery in Orange County. There's a different look to the plastic surgery in Beverly Hills. There's a different look to plastic surgery in Arkansas. There's a different aesthetic throughout every state. And I think that remains an expression of individuality of the human beings that are here.
What is the difference between an Orange County, Beverly Hills, Arkansas plastic surgery lion-faced woman?
Orange County lion-faced woman, what you will see is boobs.
Okay.
The whole focus is on the boobs. They are bolt-on, gigantic, basketball, tense, tight, overfilled boobs. The face, also tense, overtight, and overfilled, but everything pulls focus down to the boobs. There's your Orange County. Beverly Hills, you look a little sicker. The point of your plastic surgery is to make you look pubescent and or ill.
And in Arkansas?
Lips.
Okay.
Yes, lips. Just filler. A lot of filler. Liquid facelift in Arkansas. No cutting, just injecting fillers and Botoxes and trying to get a few more years out of the face you got.
What do we look out for when we're looking for plastic surgery?
Jawline is your first clue.
Okay.
A really tight jawline on a lady or a man who looks like they were alive in the 80s or 90s. That's a surgical result. A little tiny scar just inside the ear. It's real small, but I was sitting at Jones on 3rd not a day or two ago, and I saw a man with a scar, and I was like, there's a guy who took care of himself. And what do you know? His jawline was so tight as he ate his New York coffee cake. It was a joy to watch him chew and his skin pull against his work. Those are the most telltale, I would say. The jawline. Oh, and now recently with the eye lift, right, where they take pieces of your eyelid so they open up a little bit more. A gently surprised, not delighted surprise, but just whoop. That kind of look is that's indicative of some eye work, especially on men. A lot of men getting that eye work done right now. A lot of whoop, surprise eyes.
Do you have any problem with people whose faces read 35, but whose bodies read 65?
Yes, get your liposuction 360. Once you start, you're in. You know what I mean? It's like you can't buy a hat and not buy the rest of your wardrobe. You can't wear a hat and the PE clothes you wore in high school. If you're going to get a hat, you need to get a rest of an outfit that matches. You got to get your Derby Day outfit. So if you're going to do your face, that's your hat, and then find your outfit to match. You know what I'm saying?
Couldn't that be a trend in much as we have women who have rock hard breasts while the rest of them is aged naturally? Maybe we have young faces but old bodies, or young bodies and old faces.
It's a quirky idea. But you spoke of homogeny before, and I want a homogenized surgical look, head to toe. It'll laser the hair off your big toe, tighten up your butt, snatch your waist, lipo your arms, tighten your neck, all the way up to the scalp. Get a hair transplant, do what you have to do to complete the look.
Is it possible, the way that trends swing, and obviously the obsession with youth seems to be a fundamental human thing since humans have become technically humans, but maybe we would move into an obsession with looking old? There will be so many people Botoxed wrinkle-less that wrinkles will become the trend.
It is a distinct possibility. I was in Europe recently walking through a statue garden looking at these Rubenesque women with their bellies hanging out like a Dove ad. And it made me remember that, beauty standards change. But in my lifetime, I'm old. I'm 60 now. I want to look at the kind of 35 that would have been an executive at MTV in the year 2000. That's the look I'm after. And in my lifetime, all I care about is me, right? So in the future, sure, have your wrinkles, do your young face, old body bullshit. For me, I want a 2000s MTV executive body, face, hair, fullness.
Dim the lights, you say? I can't My dimmer's as sticky as cold glue. At all its outlets, you can find dimmers so smooth, they'll take your bra off. Use code Plastic Surgery Episode Second Half in lowercase for a 1% discount. And now, back to the show. So if you met a man, I don't want to project, but I'm assuming you're
very active on the dating scene.
If you met a man, love of your life, and he preferred a wrinklier woman, a natural woman, how would that affect you, in your opinion, about your face and your plastic surgery?
I would draw them on for fun on his birthday. But, but of course he'll be in love with my insides, So
Will he?
I'm not sure. That's actually a really good question.
What traumas, what tales have you erased with plastic surgery?
Had a cesarean stabbing, if you will. The baby was darling, is darling. Well, she's old now, but, we're working. I'm encouraging her to start moving towards Botox and deep plane facelift. But my point is, I have the baby. I don't need the scar. Do you know?
Yes.
If anyone says, tell me about your baby, I don't lift up my shirt, pull down my waistline of my pants. I don't show them my scar. I had that removed.
Where did this birth situation happen?
In Arizona, of course.
Oh, of
Where
course,
else
yes.
but the desert?
Yes, I forgot. That's a common occurrence in Arizona. Any other plastic surgery trends you think are on the way out?
I think obviously it's been going on for a while now, but the gigantic butt, the BBL, is starting to fade away, mostly because bodies are starting to fade away. We're heading back to the 90s. We're heading back to Kate Moss. We're heading back to a heroin chic era, and so a BBL has no place there.
What is the little black dress of plastic surgery?
The mommy makeover, of course.
Okay.
Just a little breast lift augmentation, a tiny bit if you like, but just lift them a bit. A little tummy tuck, no belly button moving, no major cuts, just a little bit of skin tightening there, and then a vag rejuvenation while the tools are out. Classic.
What if you a young woman just starting out, 18, fresh off the assembly line? What should she get done?
I don't recommend plastic surgery before the age of 25 at least. But go ahead and get a needle. You know what I mean? Give a lip flip a try. Give a Botox. If you have a crow's foot, have some fun with the dissolvables and injectables and fillers and Botoxes.
Now, I know at your university you got into some trouble for giving this exact advice to your students. Let's talk about that.
Well, I made the unfortunate choice of sharing that fun suggestion with a classroom of sorority girls, and then they chose to host a party on campus, an injectables party, if you will, and what they did not do was invite a qualified, registered professional to do the work. So there were some severe outcomes, I guess is what you could call it. There were a lot of drooping eyes and a lot of sagging foreheads, a lot of misplaced Botox, so the face died in sad ways.
Do you think someone with natural beauty is superior to someone with store-bought beauty?
I think someone with natural beauty is a lovely template for all of us to take their face and bring it into our doctors and say, this, please.
Will we ever be happy with what we look like? Will you ever be happy with what you look like?
No. But
Were you ever happy with what you look like?
Oh, probably when I was drinking, but that was a long time ago. Listen, it's part of life force is to keep, you got to have something to strive for at all times. If you achieve what you want in your career, then what? Go back to the mirror. Take a look. Something's off. I guarantee it. Start researching how to fix it. There you are. Purpose. I can't die until I don't have adult acne. That's my challenge. Off I go.
Upper brachioplasty.
Taboo!
Really?
Mm-hmm.
It is unfortunate that the upper arm skin is a villain to most women.
It is. It can be so easily disguised in a shawl I just don't see the need to go in so hard on that one part.
Oh, so you're not a supporter of removing excess skin from the upper arm?
Look, if it's part of a package, sure. I'm just not going to go in separate for a bat wing reduction. You know, I don't wave enough. I don't. They just aren't exposed enough for me to give a shit. You know, I got other things to worry about. I gotta put Botox in my hands. I do wave with my hands. People see those on the steering wheel. I see them. Do you know where anesthesia came from?
I do not.
A party.
Ooh.
Somebody at a party brought out some kind of anesthesia. Ether is what it was, and they called it the ether frolics. People would take a hit of ether, and they would disappear for a little bit, and they would dance around, and what they noticed was they would dance around, run into things, but they didn't feel the pain. Nobody felt hurt when they were doing their ether frolics. And so one day, someone said, I don't like my nose, and I was at a party where I danced around and nothing hurt. How about I do an ether frolic while you break my nose and set it in a new position? Plastic surgery.
What young girl hasn't hoped to secretly break their nose so that they could have it reset without a bump?
Every girl who claims to have been diagnosed with a deviated septum. That's who.
Your deviated septum looks very Northern European.
I've had so many deviated septums, one every 5 years or so to keep up with the trends.
How many nose jobs should a person have?
As many as they like, but like I said, I think a nice 5 to 10 year cycle, you know, the way a breast implant needs to be switched out after 10 years or earlier because it starts to sag and hang. And I feel like a nose job hits its limit too. And it's like, well, this look has been fine for now, but my perspective on life has changed, or my perspective on eyewear has changed, and I want something different holding up my glasses.
How large a boob job do you think is too large?
I don't have a problem with as many cc's as you want to put in your silicone or saline bag.
Basketball's fine.
But if you live a lifestyle where you don't sleep on your stomach or jog, sure. It wouldn't work for me. I sleep on my stomach and I jog recreationally. I would never. But I will, if it's a good boob job, I'll see it on the beach.
What defines a good boob job?
Big natural look. Listen, there's a lot of limitations in plastic surgery. You have to be willing to risk a scar, to have severe bruising, to have deformative swelling for weeks, sometimes months after your procedure. A proper facelift doesn't really settle for a year. So you have to be willing to look odd for a while. And then a year later, your Christmas card picture is just a stunning piece of angular perfection.
Speaking of which, your Christmas card is immaculate.
Every year. I just had a buccal fat removal so that this year's picture will have even more angles and fall shadows over my face.
Now, the buccal fat trend seems to be causing a lot of controversy. Young girls getting it taken out so they look old women getting it put in.
It's, you know, it's to taste. It's like ordering a latte with foam, no foam, or extra foam. You know, I'm a no foam latte girl. Take it all out. But some people like the foam. Put it all back in. You know, like it's your canvas. Go to work on it how you like.
Now, you've been banned from having surgery in most of the 50 states. Where are you getting your surgery now?
Turkey, of course. It's a lovely facilities, really willing doctors. You give them money. Your only parameter is no death, please. And they do their best. And, people have opinions about that. Oh, it's unethical. Oh, blah, 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 blah. But it's an experiment. It's World War I, if you will. Well, we wouldn't have had those innovations without the soldiers needing reconstructive surgery in World War I. You're welcome. I'm going to Turkey to figure out what you can do next on your own body back here.
Thank you.
You're welcome again.
Service. Well, let's wrap up. Tell our young people out there, what should they go forth into the world? What is their wear sunscreen? What is your wear sunscreen?
Be courageous with your own body. If you see something you don't like, I guarantee there's a procedure out there to fix it. Save your money, find your doctor, sign up, get it done. Why all of this work on acceptance? No, thank you. Get a knife, get a doctor, get what you want. Heal yourself from the outside in. I haven't found a therapist to support this theory yet, but I am looking.
And I encourage you on that journey. Professor Loretta Bones, where can people find you?
I am barred from all campuses and medical centers in the United States at the moment, but you can find me at any 5-star hotel in Turkey, and I'm online under Bones-Cornbush. I have not been able to change my Instagram handle since my divorce, so you will just look up Bones-Cornbush. Bones-Cornbush.
There can't be too many of those.
I believe I'm the only one.
And to you, dear listener, please don't do anything Dr. Bones-Cornbush told you to do, unless you want to, but it's still pretty bad advice. Margie, thank you so much for being on the podcast. Tell everybody where they... Oh, so my guest today was Margie McGee. Margie, tell everybody where they can find you.
I feel ethically inclined to first and foremost say I do not advocate for anything that I just said. And I can be found on Instagram at Margie McGee, MargeeMagee, and on TikTok, my dog, who wears costumes, has a page, Evelyn_wears_outfits. Evelyn Wears Outfits on TikTok and Margie McGee on Instagram.
And you have a podcast about a lot of women with plastic surgery.
Oh, I do. I do a podcast called A Therapeutic Dose, where we talk about the intersection of reality TV and therapy, of all things. And yes, we talk about most of the shows on Bravo's, lots of housewives, and all of them have new faces most seasons, if not every season. So yes, there's a theme.
And if you guys want more Mysterious Historian, it's the Mysterious Historian 666 on YouTube and the .mysterious.historian on TikTok. And if you live in LA, Margie will be in a show that I have created called Hutch of Horrors at Dynasty Typewriter October 29th. So I hope you guys come out. Thank you. Goodbye.